Why don't you grab a cup of coffee and let's talk about the spring lamb prices. Obviously, it's going to be a little different this year than it has in the past because so many of our Ohio operations have looked forward to the Easter market as a great pricing opportunity for their 60 to 80 pound lambs. And this year with the Corona-19 virus, that really does not become an option. So, what can we do with these lambs? And I've had three people ask me that. Number one, I guess you can just go ahead and merchandise the lambs like you were planning on doing. Yes, the market is going to be down, but again, depending on your situation, it could still be a profitable sale. The second option then would be if you had facilities, feedstuffs, and the time and effort, you could take those lambs and add additional weight to them and get them into the fall season. But we do know, as you look at that, and we'll show that in some graphs here later on, that we know the price is probably going to go down, which is going to make the profitability issue just quite a bit tighter, but still may be an option for some people. The food service and dine-in industries account for more than 50% of the American lamb consumption. And with, as we all know, across the United States, with restaurants closed, it has really eliminated a tremendous amount of demand for our product. The virus has done significant damage to the food service industry for not only lamb, but I think all food sources. Easter is our highest market every year. It's by far the highest spring market. And this is a tremendous pricing opportunity that just, in essence, going to fall away and just not happen this year. And hopefully, as we get this issue straightened out and look into next year, we will have opportunities to, be back at the levels that we've been in the past. Tremendous loss of demand, and we're in the issue of supply and demand. So if there's not demand, and we still have the production side of producing a good supply, really very little other options than to see prices going to be reduced. Few positive issues as you look at the sheep industry. Federal inspections here recently in the spring for the February and March, slaughter has been down some. And maybe the good news is the weights have actually been lower for this same period of time too. And again, some of that is a reflection of just trying to sell ahead into these higher prices, but now, of course, extra weight maybe on down the road will help depress the market a little more, and we sure don't want to see that. You look at production numbers, although the U-base is pretty consistent with what it was in 19, it looks like in 20 right now, the total production numbers show that we are down 3 or 4% from where we have been in previous years. The chart I have here in front of us comes from United Producers at their Mount Vernon buying station. And they have roaster lambs as a pricing mechanism in their sale each week. And basically, these are lambs which would be ideal for the Easter market in that 60-pound range. This chart starts January of 19 and goes to actually March 27th, or just here a couple of weeks ago of 2020. And you can see there's some up and down, but actually a fairly, from the highest it got was last winter when there was a little more demand for these lighter lambs and just not the supply out there. You see it did run up over 300 there, but generally it's going to stay in that 250 to 150 range and consistently throughout the year. But generally the best pricing opportunities, as you'll note, is in January, February, and March. And the worst is as we look into the the late spring, summer months, and early fall months. Again, this is, they post a high and low price each buying session, and we took the average, and that is the price is plotted here. It's not a weighted average, but it does reflect visually here a little bit on what the roaster lamb market is throughout the year. Take-home points, market has been good here for the last several years. I think the last really low was in 12-13. I think we need to keep that in mind. Everything is cyclical. I think it's a good policy right now here to keep current, just because we can't project, how soon demand's going to come back, how soon we'll reduce supply. So just keep current. I would mark a little lighter weights, although you probably want to do that here pretty quick, and I would think in the next month, if you're going to try to go ahead then and grow these lambs on out into the late fall and put a little more weight on them, that may be an option. Just make sure you have fairly reliable and economic feed source. As we look at the competition, poultry, pork, and beef, compared to lamb, all three of those are less expensive. And when you look at cents per pound on the retail weight basis, lamb is, when we look at that in 19, was almost $8 a pound, and compared to poultry, which would be the lowest, would be $1.86. So significant difference between lamb and poultry. As finances get tighter for families, it's going to be interesting how they, analyze lamb as a part of their meat menu. Next chart then is, as we think about putting some additional pounds on these lambs, here's the chart for the 131-pound lambs at Mount Vernon, and this is for 16, 17, and 18. January being on the left, December on the right. As you kind of put the line down the middle of that and look at the first 6 months versus the second 6 months in each of those years, you can see prices are generally higher in that first 6 month period, especially in that February, March, and April time frame. And then as we look in the latter part of the year, prices do dip down. So we probably would expect that again as we think about what the prices are going to do here as we move into the summer, fall, and winter months of 2020. Just a quick review there to maybe help you at least think about some marketing options and what to do with some lambs you were planning on moving here this time of year. I'm going to try to update and do some more things here on a weekly basis. We'll try to touch a little more next week on hair sheep, and then maybe the following week get into a little bit how the goat market's been acting too. If you want to get a hold of me, here's my email address, telephone number, and then our county website. So thank you very much.